Good morning, Midland, Texas. This is Buddy Webb. I had an interesting comment posted to my Facebook this morning. I'm gonna share with everybody. It was on my Facebook post where I showed Senator Cruz did a tweet investigate the mayor, and I did a video about that. And you can go look that up. Bring legal action against the mayor who has put for political reasons ordered his police officers to let citizens be attacked for domestic terrorists. Okay, and my video was showing where I'd sent the mayor of Midland, an email with links to 50 videos of burglar alarms going off in my house. That was after I was ambushed and shot and left crippled. So now I'm a defenseless and disabled crime victim, living under a death threat with people breaking my home, etc. But I go on to say that the previous homeowner was or previous mayor was Wes Perry, and in 2012 his father was his late father was an honoree at the 2012 oil show, and and the possible connection to the Permian Basin oil show. I mentioned the oil show a lot, and I'm going to explain what the oil show is here. And it's a big convention, basically, is what it is. It's an oil field convention, and almost all conventions, organized prostitution, is a factor. It goes along with it. A lot of conventions are held in Vegas, right? And of course, a lot of events that you might compare it to would be the Super Bowl. You have these huge prostitution events. But anyway, Robert Glossop posted this message here, and this I'm going to read to you. I don't normally read, and but it was so interesting that I thought it was important to read. Okay, and so let me get it ready here so you can see it. Okay, and this is written by Cynthia Clack, okay? And Cynthia Clack is a local attorney. She comes from a family of attorneys and judges. I think her dad was a judge. This is a well-known family of lawyers right there in the area. She's out of Odessa, and she's wrote this letter to the Midland Police Department. It looks like back in 2012, same year I was ambushed and shot, and I believe it has connection to organized crime, organized prostitution, etc. So here it is. Cynthia writes, "What is even more disturbing to me is that the Midland Police Department has chosen to spend countless hours attacking my client, Mr. Glossop, when on the other hand, you fail to investigate what appears to be a major internet prostitution ring of organized crime going on in Midland, Texas. I turned in a large box of documents showing this organized criminal group was conducting prostitution out of the Midland Hilton Doubletree in July 2012. Your vice squad appears to have done nothing except return the box of documents and the cell phone with the numbers of prostitutes to my client Karen Kroom months later. Although her husband took the Fifth Amendment when questioned about his involvement with prostitution, promotion of prostitution, perjury, aggravated perjury, and money laundering, the Midland Police Department has apparently done nothing. She did not even get a courtesy form letter, which you sent Mr. Glossop after he reported the stolen license plate. I will be happy to send the backup documents, transcripts, and deposition when you're ready to investigate the matters discussed in this letter. Please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, yours truly, Cynthia Clack." Okay, and so I want to key in on that, on this well-known attorney saying there's a large internet prostitution ring of organized crime, because I think they're the ones behind the rigging of the homes around here, and the crimes against me, the premeditated capital murder attempt on my life, very possibly the murder of the last homeowner, and then the murder of the young girl at the 2010 oil show party. Okay, and so I went, and you can go to PBIOS. That's a Permian Basin International Oil Show, and I talk about the oil show all the time, but a lot of people down here know what it is. Okay, and basically it happens every 2 years on even numbered years. That it's an international oil show. Okay, and it's put on by local oil men, and it's been going on since the 30s. The wild parties that go on during this oil show are famous, and the link between the historic link between prostitution, organized prostitution, and the oil field is historic and infamous. The tough and roughneck and all that. Okay, and so you know, anybody's lived in this area, and I grew up in this area, we've all heard of these wild parties that go on. And you know, you can kind of picture like the TV show Dallas, you know, JR, you know, and it's just uber wealthy old men, all powerful. Okay. And so, and then I also went and looked up that the mayor, when I was shot here in Midland, Texas, I showed that the police department reports to the mayor, where the mayor, when I was ambushed and shot in my home, and then secret police were caught on camera inside my home, which took 6 years to get identified, was Wes Perry, and his father was the honoree at the 2012 Permian Basin oil show. Okay, and so you look that up. His late father, Charles Perry, and so there you can see the connection to the oil show with the mayor, who was the mayor when I was ambushed and shot. Okay, but before I was ambushed and shot, a few weeks before I bought this house, the previous young homeowner died. Name was Mike Lawhon. Okay, and I have a few videos on Mike Lawhon, and I was asked yesterday in a Facebook post, how does that other murder connect? How do you think that, you know, the death of Mike Lawhon connect to you know, the capital attempted murder in your life? Well, the obvious reason is it happened in this house, and multiple people are saying that. There's underground facility tunnels here, you know, and so and then there's the fact that what I found on Mike Lawhon's death has led me to believe that he was actually killed here and taken to Fort Worth, and so that's led me to believe the same people that tried to kill me also killed Mike Lawhon. And when you go to the Odessa American, okay, that's the newspaper, and you look at the date here that it's posted, and you can look this up yourself, but basically this is posted 10/14/08. This is still, you can be found on Google. Okay, right there's the date that is posted, October 14, 2008. Now, my first night to sleep here was October 31st. Okay, Mike Lawhon died October 12th in Fort Worth. Okay, and so they posted that. But then 4 days later, they made a revised posting on the 18th. Remember, the first one was on the 14th. And here's a second death notice for the same guy. He was the owner of my home. Okay, and they changed to say he died at his residence. Okay, well, that didn't automatically change. Somebody had to go in there and go, oh, well, it was Fort Worth, and now it's his residence. Okay, and post a second death notice. And why would they do that? And I believe the reason is because he was killed here and taken to Fort Worth. My neighbor lived directly across the street, told me 2 times Mike Lawhon died in this house. Okay. Now, what's interesting is the week after Mike Lawhon dies, the 2008 oil show starts, and that seems to be real coincidental, right? Because it's believed that the underground facility said to be here is hosting them oil show parties, them wild parties I was talking about. So there's the information about Mike, and a little history about this area, and some people know that, some people don't. The Midland, Texas, and see what you got here. When you hear Midland, you hear Odessa, Midland, Odessa, because they're 20 miles apart, you know, and growing together almost as one city, you know. It's actually closer than Fort Worth, Dallas, and it's the home, and you know, it's not even a large town, you know, and I mean 40,000, whatever it is now, and but it is the hometown of 2 presidents. Okay, President George and Laura Bush, and you know, and many people have asked that, you know. You think that George Bush would know something about an $1 million underground facilities hosting oil show parties. He used to be a landman here. He was an oil man here. You know, George Bush was in Midland, Texas. Of course, he didn't live here when all this happened. Laura Bush's late mom lived here. Okay. And then just hear this phone call we're going to listen to.
The pizza parties. They said they're not called pizza parties, but I know what you're talking about.
Right, the pedophile parties.
Yeah. And how many feet that gun pushed through? The ground it was, because he said that these houses are 25 feet under, at least 25.
And that was a clip out of a secretly recorded phone call where a woman was telling me that the underground facilities here, there was 4 of them, 4 3-bedroom homes, 25 foot deep, each costing $1 million. That's where I believe these famous, infamous, wild oil show prostitution parties have been held. So when I say oil show party, that's where I've been held. And it's believed one of them is here, near my home. You saw that where Rhonda Denman Rogers said, you know, it was a half block away, etc. Okay. So moving on. Okay, I have a video called Rape and Murder. Okay, this is the story of the young girl that was murdered at the 2010 oil show party. I was dating a woman, worked in my building at Claydesta here in Midland, and she had these guys approach her and order her to work the evenings of this oil show party. I have a story about that. Okay, and this wasn't a this was one of the large, wild oil show prostitution parties is what it was. And she was coming to my house, and she was leaving my house, and she was going to the party. We were talking on the phone, and in 5 minutes, she was at that party. So I knew this wild prostitution party, the very large organized crime that you saw originally, Cynthia Clack was talking about, I believe that same organized criminal crime ring, was going on within 5 minutes of the house. I believe she was actually in the underground facility under her house. And she's the one that told me about that young girl that was murdered who refused to prostitute. Okay. And the remains of a young girl, 14 to 21, were found outside of Midland in 2013. And that's very possible the young girl that she told me about. Well, I tried to get her to report this murder because that's what normal people do. And that's what this video is saying in here. And she was afraid and said that high-level police were there. Okay. And then I get a call from a police officer who threatens to arrest me if I talk to her again. Okay. And you can see how that ties back into this letter from Attorney Clack. Okay. That I saw this morning. Okay. And here's another story that I told in a different video, prostitution ring confirmed. I think this is the organized prostitution ring, and this is a 1.5 video, so I'm going to...
Child sex trafficking is the fastest growing crime in America, $32 billion industry. These pimps can make $150,000, $200,000 a year off one of these kids, and then they can use them over and over and over again. They're destroying lives, suicide rates are going up, STD rates are going up, and all the other crime goes. So if anybody wants to tell you prostitution is a victimless crime is lying to you, because they're victims and they're big money makers, these kids. So putting all this together, I'm like, what if Haley Dunn is somehow connected with these tunnels, which I believe is used for sex trafficking? I know right 2 weeks before I'm shot, or 2 weeks, I'm in my garage and I'm loading furniture in the back of this pickup truck, and I had this conversation with this person, and I'm telling this person, I know about the tunnels and I've already called the DEA, which I've done, right? Of course, I didn't know the DEA wasn't going to show up. And this person looks at me and says, I'm not a part of a prostitution ring. I didn't say anything about prostitution. I said I knew about the tunnels. That really indicated that it was confirmation to me anyway, and I can't say, oh, this person said that, because they didn't, but that was confirmation to me that these tunnels were being used for prostitution. And I think that's true. If I look at the truckers lining up, it's an ongoing racketeering business, and I already gave you the facts on child sex trafficking. So then...
Okay, and so... that's really all I'm going to do here, but I want to show you that letter from Cynthia Clack, where here's a well-known attorney, and she's talking about a large organized criminal prostitution ring operating in Midland, Texas, saying that she sent evidence to the police department that was ignored, and how I believe that ties into this home being rigged with underground access. The many people that said that there's a tunnels underground facility here, the young girl murdered at the oil show prostitution party, and that's never been investigated. I gave the name of that witness to several different law enforcement agencies, and I'm not going to be surprised at all if she has never been pulled in question, and she was afraid to tell law enforcement because she said high-level police were there, high-level police were there, and so this is not acceptable, and I think a lot of these crimes can be solved, and all we have to do is get some law enforcement, that starts doing some investigation. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.